Good morning, all. I am Bhuneshwari from Computer Science Department. So today we are going to discuss about Python strings, which is a very important concept in Python. So strings in Python can be represented as a group of characters using any of the codes like triple quotes, double quotes, or single quotes. So here we have taken some data as hello, and if you want to print this data or if you want to represent this data as a string literal, you need to use any of these codes. So if you want to print the data, you can directly pass that content as an input to the print function, or you can assign this content to a variable, and then you can print that variable in order to view the result. So while representing strings in Python, you need to be cautious of the codes you're using. For example, if you have a double quote content inside a single quote content, it would be of no problem. Also, for example, if you have a single quote content inside a double quotes, it would also be no problem. But if you have a double quotes inside a double quote content, it would return a quote mismatch error. So for that, we can use escape characters and all. But you need to be aware of the quotes you are using while representing the string. So if you want to assign a string content to a variable, you can simply use the assignment operator and then you can assign the content you want to the variable. So most usually we use double quote in order to represent a string in Python. You can use any of the quotes like single, double or triple. So sometimes we have strings or the content in multiple lines which need to be represented in multiple lines. So strings which are represented or which are large in volumes or which can be represented in multiple lines are called as multi-line strings. And in Python, we represent them either using triple double quotes or triple single quotes like we have represented here. So strings we can see they are collection of characters. So we can represent or see the strings are as arrays. So we can also perform some operations that we perform on arrays like on strings like slicing, indexing and all. So for example, we have multiple functions that we can perform in the string. So for example, we can use looping statements on a string. So here we have taken some for loop and we have taken some string as a banana, and if you want to loop through this string, we can simply use a for loop. And if you want to print, if you print that variable, it would loop through the string from starting to ending. It would result the in the string or output we have seen here. We can see here. So that means we can use looping statements with a string, or you can use conditional statements with a string. So we also have some other inbuilt string functions like length, which gets the length of a string. So note that while using the length function in order to return the length of a string, you need to be careful, like, or you need to note that we have, if you have special characters like exclamatory mark like here, or if you have white spaces like this, or if you have any separators, it would also be counted as a character. So we need to note that point here. So, for example, we can also use different operators with a string. So, if you want to check a particular phase or a character, is present in a string, we can use the keyword in. So in and not in or membership operators we can use with the string. Here, for example, we have defined a string txt and we have some string and we have assigned that string to a variable txt. And if you want to use or if you want to check this substring is present or not, you can use membership operators like in and not in. So in operator returns true if the substring is present in the string, and if you can also use not in operator also. So the same condition can be used using if statement also can be represented. Here you can see we have represented the same string and we have assigned that string to a variable. And if you want to check a substring is present in a string or not, you can simply use if condition, and then you can use some statements which would be printed if this condition is true. So you can also use not in operator if you want to check a phrase or character is not present in a string like we have seen before. So we have some string assigned to a variable, and if you want to check a particular string is present or not, or substring is present in a string or not, you can use not in or in operator. The same code can be represented or checked using if conditions also like this. So, for example, sometimes we want to represent a substring as a string. Like, mean if you that means if we want to slice the string, from a particular index to a particular index. That is where slicing concept comes. So we can simply use square braces in order to represent, or in order to perform index operation or slicing operation on a string. So here we have assigned some content to a variable b, and if you want to print the index from 2 to 5, that means if you want to return a substring from a string, we can simply use slicing. So here we have mentioned some starting index as true and ending index as 5. Note that in Python, a string index starts from 0. So here we have given some starting index as 2. So the uh, string would start from 1, because h index would be 0, e index would be 1, l index would be 2. So, and also note that if you have given some ending index, it would return the character -1. That means the up to fourth index only the substring content will be written. So we can sometimes, here we have not, you can see that we have not given the starting index. That means the index will, or the substring will start from 0th index to 4th index, because we already discussed that the ending index would be -1 while returning the result. So here we have given the starting index, but we have not given the ending index. That means it would start from second index, and it would return the string or the substring up to the last one. So we also have negative indexing in Python, where the negative indexing starts from -1, and from the last of the string, the negative indexing will start. So here, for example, we have some hello world content here. Exclamatory mark index would be -1, D would be -2, and up to so on. So also, whatever the index you are using, positive indexing or negative indexing, the all the special characters, separators, or the white space would also be included in that. So we can have in Python we have a set of built-in methods you can use on the strings. So here we have some methods like upper, lower, and all. So we can use these functions in order to modify the strings. That modification is nothing but making some changes to the string that you have already defined. So here, if you want to use any of the built-in method with a string, you need to use dot operator, and then you need to use the variable dot your built-in method. So whatever the variable you have assigned the content to, you need to use that variable dot the method that you are using. So here a dot upper would return the result by changing all the characters into uppercase. And next we have lowercase, which would return the string as by converting all the characters into lower cases. So we know sometimes while defining a string, we may sometimes give white spaces, and if you want to remove all that white spaces at the starting and beginning of the ending of the string, you can use strip method. So it would remove all the white spaces at the starting and the ending, and it would result in like this. So if you want, sometimes if we want to replace some strings with other. So method, we can use replace method in order to replace one thing with other. So it would take two parameters. The first parameter would be the content that is already present in the string. So here we have some h in the hello world, and if you want to replace the h with j, you can pass that content. Like the one with you want to change with, you can pass it as a second parameter, and if you see the output, h would be replaced with j here. So sometimes we want to split the string. That means, for example, I want to split the string from h to o as a one string, w to d as a one string, or exclamatory as one thing. You can use the split operator. Note the split method always takes a separator as a instance, or it would take the content as a string, or it could also take the character also. So string concatenation is one important operation that combines two strings. So we can simply use plus operator in order to concatenate or join two strings here. So we have assigned some contents to the variables a and b, and then if you concatenate it, you can concatenate the data, and you can print that variable, you can see here. So next, string formatting. So we all know we cannot combine strings with a numeric value. That is why we need to use string method. So that is why we are using formatted string here. So f formatted string can be represented using f, and the placeholder will hold the variable name or the one for the other operations here. So you can see here we have defined a variable age and we have assigned some value, and here we have assigned another variable. To that we have assigned our string. So here you can see we have used flower braces which acts as a placeholder, and in that flower braces you have given some variable name you have already mentioned. So whenever you print this variable, you can see the result. My name is John. I am some 36. So we cannot directly combine some numeric values like 36 to the string like this. So that is why we can use either formatted string, or you can use plus of age, plus of str of age. It would also concatenate some numeric values to the string. So we have discussed in the earlier like that whenever you have a double quotes inside a double quotes, it would result a mismatch quote error. So for that you can use escape characters to rectify that error. So here you can see uh, we have a double quote content inside a double quote. So if you print that this data without using escape characters like black slashes here, it would return a mismatch quote error. So for that you can use any of the escape characters to rectify this problem. So we have multiple escape characters you can use here, like slash and double slashes and all. So while coming to the built-in method, string has a number of built-in methods that performs different operations. So we'll see them one by one here. So first one is capitalize, which capitalizes each of the first letter of the string. So here we have two strings, like two words here. The capitalize method would capitalize each letter of the first letter of the string here. Casefold converts the string into lower cases. So as the string we have declared here is also in lower cases, the result would also be in lower cases only. So center is used to add spaces at the end and beginning of the string you have defined. So here we have given some values 20. So it would split the values with 10 and 10, and it would add the space at the starting and the ending. So next we have count method. This count method takes any of the character that has been defined in your string, and it would result the count of the character that is being present. For example, O in hello world has been repeated two times, so the output would be 2. So count method takes a character as a int. So encode the method would return a binary string by outputting the string with a big character. So next method we have is ends with. So for example, if you want to check whether a substring is present or not in the string, you can pass that character or string to the ends with method, and you can see if the substring is present in string, it would result in true either it will return false. So next expand tabs will also acts as a like separator, or it would add spaces to the string you have defined. So find method is used to find the index of the character that you have mentioned. So in hello world, the index of the O is 4. So it would result the index number of the character you have given. Already we have seen the format method, which takes or which uses placeholders, and then whenever you print this string, the content that you have inputted to the format method will get replaced in the placeholder, and that would result in the my name is Alice and all. So format map, as you can see, we have map method. That means mapping would be used with dictionaries which have keys and values. So here you can see we have used the format map method, and we have got some result as my name is Bob. So index method, as you can see in the name itself, it results in the index of the character that you have passed, and is alphanumeric with return true if there is alphabets and numerics, and it would return false if there is any white spaces also. So is alpha will return true if there is only alphabets in the string you have defined, and it would return false if there are a combination of letters and characters. So is ASCII would return true if there is ASCII characters which is of length 127. So here we have written some a special character whose ASCII value is greater than 127. So that is why it is returning some value as false. So thank you all. We have thank you all.